Hey everyone, thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast. This is a short, and this is going to be a really good short. So we have Lawrence and Alainta are my co-hosts, and guess what? Alainta is going to tell us this. You know, we talk about financial literacy, we talk about family dynamics, we talk about growth, but you want to know one of the number one questions we get? How's Alainta finding all these men out here?
Wow.
These men's with S, these men's.
So in this beautiful short episode of the Financial Griot, me and Lawrence, we're going to take a back seat to understand. I'm going to cross my legs here. If I had some tea, I would be drinking it because it's about to get hot. Alainta.
Yeah, before this goes, like, because I don't think she understands how many people really hit us up and ask the questions about, like,
no, I don't.
She's like, I thought she was dating so-and-so. Oh, shoot, she's not dating so-and-so anymore. And recently we found out you're not even dating so-and-so. I don't get what's going on. And you swooping up, and you even said in a comment that, oh, yeah, I got a few lined up. Like a lined up. Like, who's lining up for dates?
So there is not a drought. There's not a drought.
You know, like, black ladies out here say, I can't find a date to save my life. But Alainta has like entire roster, a schedule going on. You got like, hey, I try to see who gets to the top. I'm trying to see who makes it.
Wow, guys. Y'all really get on my nerves right now.
Go ahead.
I'm
from beginning to end. Yeah, to beginning to end. Like, what happens? Like, how's the process?
How's the process going?
No, wait. You know what? I need to ask begin. Okay, when you get out of a relationship, usually people kind of panic, right? They kind of lose their cool. They don't know what's going on.
Right.
So what happens next? Like you're like, what do? You go hit the gym? You play with Bruno?
Hit the gym.
Okay, you hit
Bruno's
the gym
right
for
here.
a bit. All right, you do that. Bruno's the cat. You know. Then what else do you do after that? Like, tell the people they need to know.
Here we go. I'm taking it for the team because I'm being so transparent for this podcast, this episode. I reflect, man. I reflect and I take gratitude knowing that I did the right thing. Because it's in a process of me not just, breaking up with someone or leaving someone alone, the relationship alone, just cause, right? I think I have grown into the person or the woman I'm becoming is reflecting on, I know what I need. And if something's not serving me anymore, then, then we should just be adults and talk about it and just, move forward. Right. I think this past situation was amicable per se, or more on me. And I think that for me, it was just to know that what I want specifically in a person or what I'm in search for is just finding the love that I know that I give to. And doing so, I just have more gratitude and appreciation in myself to know that I don't want anything lesser than. That's really what it is. I don't want anything lesser than. So I take gratitude that I experienced something wonderful. I met someone wonderful and we had a great time. But also I find gratitude to know that it's not serving me. Then I should move on from it and give that person the opportunity to find what's serving them too. You know what I mean? And that's really it. I don't know what else.
No, we don't know what you mean. Like, what's serving you? Like was he a traditional man? Like, did you not want to cook and clean?
Oh
like,
my God!
Did he not make a certain amount of money? What didn't that? Okay, yeah. I guess that's a two-parter. What didn't work?
It was really along the lines of the readiness of it all. And I think that we both, I could take accountability for myself, is it was exciting, it was cool. We thought that it was something that could be working out, long distance is no joke. It's really, really not. And it's a financial impact, it's an emotional impact. And we had to be honest. Well, I had to be really honest with myself to know that what do I really want? And communicating that with the person, he realized that as well. Well, maybe there's just not the time, and I'm fine with that. I'm all in the space spaces, if something is not for you, just not for you. You can't force anything or anything on someone that you want. And that's cool, man. You know, I told you guys before early on in the podcast, I'm a whole lot of chocolate. I may not be for everybody, may have diabetes. I don't know. You know, like it's a
it's a very random statement. Say, hey, a whole lot of chocolate, you might get diabetes. What kind of tagline is this?
But yeah, that's really it. But what I was gonna say, as funny as not, I thought I was going to be sad and I wasn't. And I think that it just took me a while to process, to understand that I'm evolving as a person and understand that I'm in a cool space where I'm content. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is not just going to work out perfectly like you want. And I think that I express that, or my energy signature is expressing that as well. And honestly, I'm not looking for guys. It kind of just happens. DM or someone just circle back. I told you guys that before. Someone just circle back like, hey, I haven't heard you. I haven't seen you in a while. Let's meet up or let's go out. Like, okay, cool.
So you don't use I guess the apps. So you don't do like the coffee meets bagel, Tinder, all that stuff.
I used to. My ex relationship, the previous one, we recently broke up, is from online. But recently.
But where online? That's what they need to know. They need details.
Here we go. What's the dating one called? Cupid something.
Okay, Cupid.
Yeah, okay, Cupid is cool. Plenty of Fish, I do not recommend. It's really weird. Now I don't recommend Plenty of Fish. I would say too, the online apps is cool, but it's almost, whereas as a woman, I don't know how it is perspective for the men, is you have to go through so much of BS with these profiles and these messages to get to the person who's very genuine, the person that would like to meet up for coffee or would like to meet up for a festival or just chill and hang out, right? You have to kind of get through the noise, and that's the part I really don't like. But I prefer online dating because I don't go out as much as I used to, especially with the pandemic. And with everything that's going on, like I really prefer being home. You guys know I'm a homebody unless I'm traveling to somewhere. But I prefer online dating.
Or brunch.
Or here we go. But yeah, so I prefer, if you're the type that you don't go out as much and that's not really your thing, or you have a lot of responsibilities, you're a busy person, then online is really what it's at. And it's just a little difficult to navigate to the guys who are genuine, who wants the authentic connection, right? But I haven't been online. It's just been on and off for a minute. I haven't been online for months. It's end of the year now, almost 2022. But recently I have been, it's the guys I've been circling back, or just new guys just DM me. I think it's the podcast. I don't know. It's YouTube. I don't know what it is. But yeah, just in communication. I don't have expectation like this is the one. This is the one. Like I don't have that expectation anymore. I'm just like experiencing life. I'm experiencing people. And I'm just trying to find, the healing within myself too, because I don't want to just accept anything. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. So yeah, just dates, talking. Yeah. It's cool. It's chill. I don't know what else you guys want to know. Laura's looking like,
no. I have to ask these questions for the ladies out there. I gotta get deep. Lovely's not helping, so I have to step up. I would say, okay, so you don't really do the apps, but
as
you do
much. Nah,
but I guess that your secret is actually being out and about. So that or not out and about per se, like in the physical sense, but at the very least, they see you on, active on social media.
Yeah, I think that's really it.
YouTube,
that's active,
living your life,
yeah,
getting creative in the podcast space. So they're like, oh, she's into this kind of stuff. So I guess that's what's kind of, attracting some of the guys that you're into. Are these guys kind of like, are they favorable to family? Do they get their finances in order? Like, how do they kind of like, how do you perceive them when they hit you up?
First, for the most part, I'm an investigator.
Are they 6-figure man?
I don't know. I can't tell. I can't tell from, your profile if you're a six figure and stuff like that. Well, maybe if your job site and it's funny because I'm getting hit up on all the sites. So that's including LinkedIn too, because I'm doing featured guests on different podcasts as well. So that's more exposure. I have like 2 lined up soon. So it's just like, I think it's that digital space. So you could kind of say I'm still online, but not like intentionally looking for people online. I think it's just coming to me per se. But yeah, I just check out their profile. If they're writing goofy stuff, whatever that I'm not with, then it's not going to work out. But funny enough, I am finding much older men. I'm talking about 50 plus, almost grandpas, like they have grandchildren hitting me up. I'm just like, I'm all right.
You haven't got there yet.
I haven't got there yet. It's funny enough because the men that do physically hit me up when I'm out, minding my business, grocery shopping, whatever, are 50 plus. Like write down their numbers, like stopping me and going to the aisles, are like much older guys. And I'm just like, I'm not there yet. But I do entertain the fact of that, of like being with someone like over 40. But for me, I have to be realistic. I'm a very practical person. I have to be realistic to know that if we get into something really serious and, potentially marriage, I would like children someday. That means in 10, 15 years, you'll be 60, like 60 plus 70 when I'm still in my 40s, and our child is under 5. That's not.
Damn,
that's
true.
not. And then financially, I'm looking like, okay, if you have life insurance, that's cool. How is that split up within your children, your older children, your new children, and your grandchildren?
Yeah. How do I fit in?
And how do I fit in as well? So I think about all that stuff. So even some fine grandpapas. I ain't gonna lie, the last one.
But out here, salt and pepper in the game.
You know what I'm
saying? The church swag.
6'5". 6'5". You know what I'm saying?
Coming through with the church, getting all the church ladies.
Southern gentlemen. I just can't. I'm not there yet. I just can't. And I do entertain the fact that because I've been going back and forth, do I really want children? Right. So if I am okay with being with someone who has a little bit, with children and they're older, am I okay raising them? How is that dynamic would be? Can he create an environment where I can help raising his kids as well? So I don't know, just different things I'm still exploring. I'm still like thinking, with myself, but yeah, I'm just allowing life to come as it comes. But yeah, lately people have been circling back around or DM me out of nowhere. I legitimately have an IG boyfriend I never met. Like I never met him at all, but he listened to the pod. He's a big fan, always checking up on me. And it's just, it's weird, but yeah, it is what it is.
That's interesting because even the idea that you can actually have a platonic virtual relationship is very interesting because, we're living in a time where people, guys and girls are struggling with the idea of being perpetually single or unmarried or just at home or, I think the human condition still craves companionship, no matter if you just want to be, hey, I want to, be in the streets all the time. But the reason you're in the streets all the time is because you're trying to be with somebody. That is what it is. At the end of the day, you're in the streets because you're trying to be with somebody. I think the only problem is long term, especially for men, it's problematic because typically the women take care of the men as they age. And when we pass on earlier anyways, guys typically don't take care of themselves too well as we age. So that's problematic in of itself. We don't know how to cook. Some of us don't know how to cook, clean, or whatever. So it's kind of problematic in that sense. Additionally, for Black women, because this is a Black podcast, whatnot, I think that's very problematic in the long term because a lot of women are going to retire broke and they don't necessarily have the secondary income or the secondary, this guy that had investments or even he had a social security that she could rely upon or something like that. They're just not going to have. So we're going to probably have an epidemic of Black women retire that made a lot of good money, but never invested enough. Mm-hmm. And they don't and a lot of times women use their kids as their social leverage. So even as we get older, we're like, oh, our kid's going to take care of us. Now you don't have no kids. So who's going to take care of you?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
your savings going to take care of you until it runs out, and then who takes care of you? Then you're poor, or you're relying on the government and the system and assistance. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. But in your case, you have a big family. That's another thing too. That is probably what's in your mind, like subconsciously is like, yeah, I have a lot of kids. Yeah, I have a lot of like people that could have a lot of kids or whatever it is. So it might just be easier versus than if you're like a single child or 2 kids versus like, hey, you're in a squad of 5 or something, a squad of 6.
Right.
Different scenario.
Right. And also I think that with being single at this age, it also depending on what are you doing in your singleness. I think we had a topic, a potential topic about that for the podcast. And for me, I think I'm just using the time for self-healing. You guys know I'm a therapy advocate. I love my therapist. Self-healing, and also just utilizing the time to invest as much as I can. I don't have children. That means I can invest more extra funds into my investments accounts, my retirement account, potential, homes in the future. So everything that I can do, then this is the time to do it. Right. And hopefully it will, double the potential that it will have in terms of, retirement, in terms of having assets for my children or for my future family. And that's what I just want to position myself as well. But yeah, it is a weird thing, but I think you just have to be a little intentional. And sometimes I feel like when you want it too bad, it just doesn't happen in a way that you want. So that's why I think I'm in a space where I'm just allowing those things to kind of transpire as it will. But yeah, I'm not in a space yet to be dating grandpapas and think about their social security. I'm not thinking about that yet. But yeah, dating is strange.
I got another question. I think is very important.
What's up?
Are you strictly dating Black men, or are you open to dating? I guess that's the question for a lot of people. Are they just kind of, because they're just focused on dating a certain type of Black guy or just Black men? Might that be limiting their option, or are you the kind of person that dates, multicultural, and maybe that's kind of giving you a lot of options?
Yeah, I've dated, I talked to white men. It hasn't really gone to physical date, but I have dated everyone, including Koreans, and Indian. I love Indian men. Including Indian.
Shout out to Habib out here. Habib.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Habib out here just chilling with that Bob, Alibaba money. Let's go. Stock. But that stock is going down though.
But yeah, I think that does limit your options when you're just solely focused on the same race as you are. Yeah, I dated. I currently date multicultural. I haven't really seriously dated white men, but yeah, currently as we speak, is multicultural. It's just not Haitian men. It's Native American. Is as Ecuadorian. I'll make sure I'm pronouncing that right. Ecuador. He's from Ecuador. So yeah, I'm just exploring and just see where it goes. That's really what it is. I don't think you should limit yourself, because you just never know what's gonna hit. Like I dated this Korean guy for a few months, and he was mad cool. And I don't think the only reason we didn't work out because he had to some kind of project in Australia he had to do, but you just never know what's going to hit. I think you shouldn't limit your option on race. It's just that I haven't really had the consistency when it comes to white men, but every other race has been pretty cool.
All right, Drake, Matt, and whomever, Dan, like, you got a shot. She says she's chocolate, and she might be diabetes heavy. So I don't know.
Oh my gosh, Lawrence.
Get your coffee and your mocha up, man. Let's go.
That's funny.
Coffee meets bagel. Like, Lovely, can you help out with these questions? You just kind of like looking around. Are you taking notes? Is that what's going on? You out here taking some notes on the side, taking some tips?
No. But no, I think you guys answered the questions. You guys know this. If there's nothing for me to add, like I really don't force add. I add when I feel like, I really want to know this answer. I think people just need to realize that dating is explorative. And I think what Alainta's been sharing is just like, I'm open, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not focused on one person. I'm not focused on an outcome. But one thing I can say though, is that we need to be mindful, I guess, in the dating process, that dating can also be a mirror, right? Can be a mirror into yourself, and there's so much for you to learn. And just because a situation doesn't end the way you want it to end, it doesn't mean that it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be what it just taught you, so that you can go on to the next person and be like, oh, okay, I learned this. Like, I realized that I thought I was so much kinder than I was when I was younger. Like I'm thinking about lovely that's like, this lovely. But then I look back, I'm like, dang, he used to be like, hey, babe. And I'm like, yo, like, nope. Like, and it was just like so rough.
What up, homie? What up, homie?
Yeah, like, but in my mind, personally, I thought I was out here being sweet. I thought I was delicate. I thought I was so feminine. And then you go back and read old text messages, and you be like, girl, was you talking to your brother? Like, like, who were you talking to? And it's just like, or you thought that the person wasn't showing you that they loved you. And then you realize, oh man, you were like, oh, wow. And so it was like a lot of like self-reflection for me lately. One of the biggest things. So I'm sweet talking now. I got my little sweet messages like, hey, like,
okay. Hey, she's a Haitian nurse. She's a Haitian nurse. So, Haitian nurses, they all like, hey, that's the background. That's like kind of like the special skill. As a Haitian nurse, he walks in and all the Haitian guys are like, yes. Caribbean men, yes. Nigerian men, yes. Like, you do nursing, yes. That makes no sense.
So I'm like, okay. So, but self-reflection, because I realized that growing up, like, without like having like a male figure, like my dad, like a lot of times when I see guys trying to exert force, I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? Like, you ain't my daddy. And it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, I'm being aggressive. I'm being, pushed back because I'm not used to someone taking a stance differently from me. So it's a mirror, and enjoy it. Enjoy the process. And of course, like, one thing I was talking to my friends recently about is that some people don't want to have children. Some people don't want to get married. And as a society, we need to stop making those, like, once you have those things like children and marriage, like, you move up. Like, you could be in the same pay bracket and nothing else changed. But if you got married, up in the status. Yeah. You got some kids, up in the status. You have accomplished. You could have literally built like the new cancer surviving, vaccine. This is what everybody says. Meh.
Especially for women. Especially for women.
Yeah, or it's Oprah's kids. You're like,
Like, no matter what you accomplish, no matter what I accomplish, no matter what I do, people will always measure me if I'm married or if I have kids.
Exactly.
And that's the sad part. It's for me to say that I just need to live my life. I don't think the pressure is on men as much as it is for women, right?
Oh no, it's on guys too, because you can get better jobs because you are married. Like it's almost like it's like you get more.
No, but there's something. But there's something to say too, as a certain age, like some men, potentially not all men, some men will look at you and say that, oh, you don't have kids, nor you've been married or whatever. Is something wrong with you?
Exactly.
And I think I know some women do that to men as well too. Some people, I think they're toxic when they do that, but yeah, it is something to say. And I just realized no matter what I do, no matter all the accomplishments I have done for myself, and in future accomplishment that I'm working towards to, I will always be valued being a wife or being a mother, right? Yeah. And not my happiness, not my accomplishment, not what I actually done and serve for my people, for my family, is to say that you need to be a wife. Yep. You need to be a mother. There's a whole
Reddit thread right now. I don't know if you guys saw it, where people are literally telling the truth about how they feel about being a parent. And a lot of people don't want kids that have kids. And so that's why I feel like as a society, we need to not see women, or when you're getting married, when you're married, or when you're having your first kid. I'm sure Lauren, you probably get that question. So when you guys having your kid, when you get like, no, chill. Like, you stop monitoring.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in people's minds. People are having infertility issues. People are having there's a lot of social pressure, and you're right. And I don't think, and I tried to tell that to my buddy the other day, I don't think people are inherently evil. There's very few people in this world that are born to be, well, I don't say they're born to be, but adapted to be inherently, purely evil. Most people are, decent people trying to do the best they can, trying to cope. And some people are just asking you some of those questions because they love you and they're just kind of, hey, they're coming in brand new. So they didn't hear the last 15 times that other people might have, come to you with the same statement. So it's not like they're coming in just trying to intentionally trying to destroy you, as much more that we do need to live in a world that's a little bit more open to the idea that people are just living the best they can. And the only thing that we could definitely, foster is a space of which, hey, are you happy?
Yeah, really.
Really. Literally, are you happy?
Are you okay? Like my friend was telling me how one of her coworkers literally was super sad a couple of days ago, and somebody had a conversation with them and they kind of noticed something was off, and he was giving his stuff away. He killed himself in a few days. Like, and this is stuff like people kind of like, yeah, something's kind of off with him, and he just all of a sudden giving himself away. And these are the things that we're trained to, like if you have any type of nursing or social work background, these are really telltale signs. And where's the community? Where are people around to say, wait, something's off? Like maybe I need to do a wellness check off. Or this other guy that recently killed himself as well. And for reasons of I can't share why he killed himself on the podcast, but essentially it's one of those situations where it's really sad. And it's also like, as a society, and it's something I do for myself now, like I check on my friends in a different way. Like, are you okay? No, for real. Like, how are you doing? Like, I always try my best to ask, like, how's everything going? Even if you give me a generic answer, I'm okay with that. But I know that I'm checking in as much as I can because I don't want, like one of you guys, literally, we're in this group chat, we're sending emojis all the time. And I get a text like, oh yeah, one of you guys like off yourself. And I'm like, we were just recording a podcast last Saturday. And it's not good. Like none of us knew that somebody was in that level of crisis and couldn't even if it's telling someone else like, hey, check in so-and-so. And it's really very problematic because we're checking off these boxes and people are getting married or having children that they don't want because they feel like that's what's going to give them acceptance. Now, if you want it, that's a whole different conversation. We're talking about people that, hey, this is not the life that they want. And it's okay for you to have a different life. And I think we also need to do a better job of like checking in and maybe asking, hey, I really want to ask you a personal question. Is this okay? Do I have grounds? Do I have space to ask that? Because somebody might be struggling with something. Like I have one of the young ladies that, kudos to her, she was in one of our entrepreneurship programs at the company, and she was struggling with infertility for 5 years in her marriage. Like it was 5 years and there's just like no kid. It wasn't happening. They wanted it because sometimes you don't want it, and that's a whole different thing. And she's now finally like, she's 6-7 months pregnant, and that was like her miracle moment. But I would like, even though she was in our educational program, I would like check in, because I understood like she was going through these other appointments, like, like all these things. But even as someone that we're just doing something transactional, and of course I asked if it was okay. I wasn't just asking just to be nosy, but I was like, hey, I know that you're doing these things and you're missing a few of these, classes or whatever, how are you, what's going on? And now just to see her in that moment of celebration, I realized that empathy and care and just being able to talk to people is really important, but also giving them the space and say, hey, I'm not ready to share that part of my life, or hey, I'm I'm processing it. It's actually really hard. I hope that it happened, but it hasn't yet happened. I'm being patient. And what can I do for you? Can I pray for you? Can I how comfortable are you with check-ins? And we need to learn how to be in coming back to full circle, we need to learn how to be in relationship with each other, beyond just superficial, beyond just whatever. And I think it's really important. Like the last couple of weeks and months has been really, really hard. And I've been telling my team, like, thank you for extending us grace, because we're just like, it's just a crap show going on this side of town. But like a level of grace that everybody's been extending, but it's because of, again, I could have decided to be that type of leader that's like, nope, I'm just going to do it my way, or I'm not going to be transparent with the problems that we're having. I'm not going to do this stuff. And eventually, even if like, I'm always like, I don't care the outcome, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what's going on. I let you decide, as a person that's in relationship with me or in professional relationship, decide to make your whatever decision. But it's my job to be very transparent and vulnerable, because it helps build better relationships. And all that to say is just like, when you are dating, you need to think about those things, that you're not going to date the perfect person. You're not going to find the perfect person, and you're not perfect. And so you go through that process, and you have to ask yourself, like, when life hits, because life does hit. Like, we need to be real with that.
And life hits hard.
And it hits hard, okay? Like, it just be out here like clocking you, and your head is going back, and you're like, whatever. where do we stand? Like, how about if you do get married and you do want children and it can't happen the way you thought it was going to happen? Does the love go away? Does the care for that person go away? People have disabilities 10 years into it. And when I think about love, I'm like, do you know the responsibility that comes with that? I mean, the tapping the ass and all that stuff is good. That's all fun, but there's some real stuff that happens in a relationship. Are you ready for that? Do you care about the person to walk the mile with them when the mile is hard as hell? It's dry, it's a desert. Can I care about your soul and your being? And have I given myself to you truly and forsaken all others so that we can walk this path together? And I think more of us need to understand the beauty in that. There is beauty in that longevity and that pushing and that going through trials and mountains and valleys and also mountaintops together. And love is a love that is patient, is kind. It's all those things that you read, but you have to know that you have to have that within yourself and for yourself.
Exactly. Self-love is really is really what people are lacking. That's why I'm so comfortable of being not necessarily alone, because it's a choice, right? But it's finding the reflecting on my decision, reflecting on my life, but also taking gratitude of where I am in my life, in a place. And I'm finding that I should continuously have faith in whatever God's plan or decision that He has for me. That's why that's why I was telling Lawrence, I don't force these people to reach out. Like, half as I might think about anyone, it just comes. But I'm in a space where I just really, I'm trying to not necessarily find, but really cultivate that self-love for myself. Yeah. Because I realize in past relationships is all I do is give. Yeah. Like I give. And if all my exes could say the same thing consistently is how of a loving person I am, but how much I sacrifice for them. Right. Wow. And unfortunately it's been to my own detriment.
And a lot of times the givers, they always say this thing like givers don't have a limit and takers don't have a limit. So you as a giver, you need to be mindful.
It's been to my own detriment, and it's been where I'm always conforming to them, and it's never we're conforming to each other. And it's something that I recognize, and something that I'm no longer doing for anyone. And it's just that I want to cultivate my self-love, and it does take being alone sometimes, not necessarily where I'm excluding everyone else, where I still have that space where I'm getting to know and discovering people, but I really want to be that love I give people for myself. And I don't think people understand that self-love is real, all caps. It's so real, because you want to extend that grace to the person that you are, extend that grace to the traumas and all that stuff that you've been through as a child to adulthood. And I'm still discovering that stuff, and I'm still trying to heal. I'm still trying to do all these things. And I know the next person or whoever it may be, or if or whenever I do get married, then they're getting the best version of me, absolute best version of me. And I'm good in that space. And I'm good to know that it's getting better and better and better and better. That's why when the last relationship didn't work out, it wasn't any tears. Actually, we're still good friends. And it's to know that I am evolving, I am growing as a woman, and I just have to allow it to happen, really. Just really allow it to happen. It's like you can't really force attraction on people or force things that you want. You got to live life.
Yeah, force that alignment.
Yeah, just got to live. Lawrence, like, I don't know, man. I'm not in these problems. I don't know these issues.
Lawrence, like,
these issues are what they are. There's some real issues. I think we covered a lot of good details for people. I think you dropped a lot of good knowledge about how you go about running into people. And I think that's the key, is the idea that you're living your life. You're finding the better version of yourself throughout the process. I always try to tell, especially the young ladies in my life, that, hey, you know, why not just go to a salsa class? You don't know who you're supposed to be. We're taught this, like in the Black community, we're taught this one way of being Black. And this is like, that's how it's supposed to be. You know, but in truth, we're a lot of versions of Black. We're a lot of different shades of it. We're a lot of different crosses to it. There's a lot of versions of who we are that maybe you're the black guy that loves to hike. Then go hike. Or you never tried hiking. You don't even know what you like. Just go do it. You never know. Maybe
people
go
are afraid
biking.
to do things alone. I don't understand why. People are really afraid to do things alone.
I've definitely seen that.
I've done a lot of things alone.
Yeah, like I started seeing people, take on cycling nowadays. A lot of black cyclers, because it feels weird because it seems like you said, some people have to do it together and then it becomes like a movement. Like, remember when people never really ran and then you're like, oh, black girl run. And then every other black girl start running or something like that. So it's always these things that we don't have to try to find, I guess that community to actually try it. Go try it yourself. Go try to be the best version of yourself. Go enjoy your life. And in that path, you'll find somebody. If not, you'll find a better version of yourself.
I'll give a tip. I'll give a tip to women is get dressed up, get your hair done, look good. Look for an event or something in your local area or somewhere that you've been, you save on your IG or a location. I do it all the time. I'm like, okay, I got to hit this up later. You save it on your location and just go, contact the venue, contact whoever that you need to contact to see what time it starts. So what is the height pinnacle time where people come, and just go. I've done it plenty of times, and I met some incredible people, including men, who are more receptive to approach you when you are alone or when they see you having a good time, right? Men like personable women, like if you look like you're having a good time, then more likely than not, they will come and approach, or more likely than not, you may just want to have a conversation. One thing I know about white people, they always like talking when you're out and about. It's very like laissez-faire to them. And it's sometimes it's just that you just need to position yourself in these environments where you can meet people. Not to say every encounter will result in a romantic relationship. Not to say that. You don't know the next person that you meet will lead you to your husband or lead you to this wonderful relationship. You just never know. That's why I'm just like, just go out and just live your life. Be safe, of course. Don't be to just go out. Don't tell anyone where you're going. Be safe. But really just allow things to happen and allow it to kind of transpire and just live your life as much abundance as you want, and it will happen, trustfully. And I'm 32 and I'm just coming around to understand that 32, 35, 45, whenever it does happen, whenever I do get married, will my husband love me any less? Nah, he won't. Will my children love me any less if I decide to have them? They won't. But would I be the best person when it does happen? I will. And that's something that I find gratitude in. That's how I land.
And yet again, this has been another crazy episode. It started out as a little short, but we definitely need to dive in for the ladies. Like we're out there with the we gave you guys what y'all wanted. Y'all wanted to know how to date a little bit more efficiently and out there in the world. And I know it's out there for you as well. So don't sweat the details. Go find out to be the best version of yourself. And please leave us a like, share, subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on the podcast. We need the reviews because that's how we keep the bills paid. If we have bills,
we're on Facebook too. You can listen on Facebook. If you follow us on Facebook, you can actually listen to the podcast. There shouldn't be any excuse at this point that you cannot listen.
We're trying to get everybody in the right space, and we're trying to, show you guys that we also love you by what the type of content that we bring. So it's not very toxic. It's very much healing. It's a conversation that we definitely need to have, and it's a conversation that brings about wealth through health and also relationships. So it's not just about money. It's not about stacking them cash. It's not just about the 6-figure man or woman, the power, the girl boss, the aficionados and all that good stuff. It's just about being a better version of you. And whatever that person is, as long as you're happy, I'm happy with you too. Is there anything anybody else want to say?
Wrap it up.
With that being said, we out.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.